Hey everyone, in this video you will see a bunch of driving clips, some random clips of our trip, and at the very end, an overview of the entire trip from San Francisco to Seattle and back. Here's a look at the front of the car before we even start. From our first stop in Vacaville, this is what a better route planner says our trip will look like. Somehow I forgot to record our Vacaville stop, but we stopped here and charged up. I know it says Tahoe on the bottom, but that's because I never changed it, and the problem with traveling during COVID is that the bathrooms are not open. Alright, we made it to Red Bluff. Car said we'd get here at 8%. Middle made us stop, but we didn't stop and we got here at 13%. Alright, we charged 20 minutes and
it feels like it should.
Can get to Mount Shasta at 12%. Alright, made it to the Mount Shasta supercharger, which is right there. At 20%, even though I missed an exit. Not a lot of food options here. Alright, we charged more than enough because we were trying to figure out lunch. Yeah, so we charged more than enough, but it's okay. We're gonna eat lunch and then continue on. Next stop is Grants Pass. Next stop, we're in Oregon. Alright, made it to our fifth and final supercharger in Springfield, Oregon. So we stopped at a park and lost like 3%, even though we were only there for 30 minutes. But we got food. I'm going to charge up now. It's kind of interesting. It's on two different lots. But it's going to charge up as much as we can and then head over to Portland. Alright, we decided to stop one more time because there's no chargers at the Airbnb that we're staying at. But if we kept going, we'd get there at 4%. Alright, it's really dark, but we made it to our Airbnb with 68%. And I'm turning off Sentry mode so that I have enough juice for tomorrow. After leaving the car overnight last night without Sentry mode, we actually gained 2%, and that's probably just the BMS recalculating. But I did want to charge a little bit more, so I looked on ChargePoint, or not ChargePoint, on PlugShare, and found out that there's this free charger in Portland. Probably spend more battery than it's worth getting here, because the closer one didn't end up working. So this one was about 2 miles away, and I can't actually stay that long. And this one's also only at 3 kilowatts, but we'll see what I get. We ended up eating at Proud Mary Cafe, which is literally right by the charger, so I got to charge up even more, and then went to Multnomah Falls. Unfortunately, the freeway exit was closed, but we stupidly decided to sit there and wait for a bit, and then we decided to leave and just check out this other viewpoint on the way back. We then went to the Witch's Castle and just did a short little hike before heading into downtown. This was a really freaking long line for Powell's bookstore and basically went around the entire building. After the bookstore, we shopped around for a little bit and then went to Chinatown to grab some food, which we ended up eating by the water. Alright, it's my first time using the EV Go charging with the CHAdeMO adapter. And let's see what speeds I'm getting. I think it advertises it as 50, getting 41, not too bad. So I used the EV Go charger only because it was a little bit closer than the supercharger and I wanted to test out the adapter. I needed to charge up before continuing on our trip the next day, so figured I'd do it the night before. Alright, so we pulled into Centralia Supercharger. We need to charge up to 100% here in order to make it to Mount Rainier and then into Seattle afterwards. Let's check it out. Oh, keep the door open. So, oh, it's not even charging. Oh, that's strange. Good thing I came back to check. But we need to charge up to 100% and then head over. We did have to drive, change the map. We did have to drive past just to go back down because there's no chargers over here. But yeah, good thing there's outlets here to keep us busy.
What's wrong, Patrick? How many hours have you driven on this trip?
I don't even know.
Days.
Alright, we're done at Mount Rainier. We are at Paradise Inn, I believe. And we got here at 36%, which is exactly what a better route planner said. So that's pretty accurate. And it looks like this is the next supercharger to get over, to Seattle. So we're gonna get there, hopefully get there at 18% or more, and then go into Seattle. We'll probably stop one more time just so we can charge and have battery in Seattle. But yeah, looks good. 2 more hours. On our first and second day in Seattle, we didn't actually do much other than walking around, as you saw with the cherry blossoms. But on our third day, we headed to Tulip Town. So here you can see that I'm supercharging at Arlington, Washington, which is on the way to Tulip Town. Unlike the rest of the trip, I didn't really care about how long it took us to drive and how much battery it took to get here. This particular charger was at a casino, so we did stop for a little bit longer. One thing to note is they checked our IDs on the way in, so I don't know how kids would be able to use the bathroom. When we finally made it to Tulip Town, it was really nice seeing all the flowers, but at the same time, it was a little deceptive and there weren't actually as many flowers as the pictures make it seem. After Tulip Town, we decided to go a different way back to Seattle by going through the islands and going to all the state parks. Since we took the islands, we had to take a ferry to get back, which is kind of cool. It cost $9.90 and it was a quick, short little ride back to the mainland and then a short drive back to Seattle. Once we got back, we once again didn't do much, so the next day I went to Pike Place to charge and just walk around there, and then we went to Magnuson Park to just have a quick little picnic because it was our last day in Seattle. While we were there, we found these ducks that were clearly way too friendly with humans. Unfortunately, that marked our last night in Seattle. The next day, we headed to Medford, Oregon, and we hit traffic for the first time. It's almost like Seattle was telling us not to leave. Alright, we made it to Lacey, Washington on our way down to Medford. We hit some traffic, so efficiency was pretty good. Plug in. Looks like it's actually a V3 supercharger. My car, because it's standard range plus, always only gets to 153. I think like 160 was the most I ever got. That's not bad. We charged up to 77%, so I put that in a better route planner and planned out our trip. As you can see here, we actually beat a better route planner and got here at 29%. When we finally made it to Springfield, Oregon, we realized that we probably could not make it to Tucketty Falls before it got dark. Because as you can see here, we would have to stop in Roseburg, use a CHAdeMO adapter, charge up there slower, get to Tucketty Falls, and then finally go down to Medford. And so we just charged up more and walked around Springfield. On our way down, you could see that this is actually from the dashcam footage. Traffic suddenly slowed, and then we saw this car completely on fire. It was some random occurrence on the trip. Once again, we charged up more than we needed to because we wanted enough battery for tomorrow, and also we wanted to eat dinner. So we're at 94%. I'm gonna go pick them up at the In-N-Out, and we'll get there at the Airbnb at 75%. Hopefully we can charge there overnight and then head to Crater Lake tomorrow. I don't even know what day it is, but it's the morning after we stayed in Medford. Getting here was already a little sketchy because got to the charger like 10%, and at one point the car said we would get there at 10% when we still had 100 miles left. Then I redid the navigation and it said 18%. But let's look at all the bugs I have now. Definitely got a lot more yesterday. And then this Airbnb is really nice, and they pulled an extension cord out from the house just so that I could plug in. So I'm gonna charge up to 95% overnight so we can make it to Crater Lake, and then head to McCloud and Burney Falls, and then to Redding for our next night. When we stopped to get breakfast, someone suggested we stop at Rogue River Gorge before heading over to Crater Lake. So we stopped in. It was a pretty cool sight to see. I'm surprised I've never heard about it online. We then went into Crater Lake and got to the top at 36%. Right at the entrance of Crater Lake National Park at the south entrance, there is a Tesla destination charger, so we stopped to try it out, and we were thinking maybe we could go up to Tucketty Falls, but after plugging in we realized it would have taken way too long to charge here to be able to go there and back, so all we did is plug in for about 2%, and then we headed over to Klamath Falls. After charging up at Mount Shasta, we headed over to McCloud Falls. The Tesla map told us to go past the actual entrance, so we took a dirt road, which made the car really dirty, but here's McCloud Falls, and then after that, we rushed over to McBurney Falls, and I was so happy we came here, because this fall was amazing. Supercharger in Redding, so we need to use charge point with the CHAdeMO adapter. Hopefully this thing works. simple. I just had to hit start and it's going. 12 kilowatts. Battery's at 34%. Let's see if it goes any faster. And I needed this CHAdeMO adapter. It's really big and heavy. Oh, 41 kilowatts, not too bad. The next morning, we had to come back in order to charge up before heading over to Lassen National Park. While I was charging, a Ford Mustang Mach-E actually pulled up, and the driver just got the car. He said that he was considering the Tesla and the Mach-E, but with the tax incentives, the Mach-E made sense. From the northwest entrance of the park, there wasn't much open because the roads were still snow-covered, so we just walked around Manzanita Lake and then headed over to the next supercharger. We made it to Corning, California. Most of these are actually dead, so I plugged into these urban ones, these like temporary ones, and I'm only getting 56 kilowatts even though I'm at 24%. Last supercharger stop. This is in Richmond because I need to return the CHAdeMO adapter, but there's a Model 3 charging sideways because of a bike rack, brown Tesla, which is new, or I mean old, and mine. And I know I parked on the line, but there's no one here, so it doesn't really matter. And so that was our trip. It was a total of about 2,500 miles. We got a lot of bugs, and a Better Route Planner was pretty accurate with all of its estimations. The car was also pretty accurate, although there were some times when it was a little bit off. Overall, I enjoyed the trip and would definitely do it again if I could.